Hello, everyone. Now that I've got everybody out of here, I can take this mask off and everything, and I think that's going to be short-lived, which is really good. I appreciate everyone's concern. I appreciate all the texts and everything. You know, this COVID deal, I think if you're vaccinated and boosted, as myself and everything, it was not as bad as the first go-round. It seems like it has, just lingered a little bit, but nevertheless, my whole clan, came down with this, and it started prior to the state of the state. I got tested every day for 4 or 5 days, and negative, and then developed a little cold and got on an antibiotic, and then lo and behold, just out of the clear blue sky, it just came from no man's land. But and since that time, our first lady's gotten it, and so it's spread all across all of us. It's very, very. If you'll listen to Dr. Marsh, he'll tell you just exactly this. It is extremely contagious. We've told you that over and over. We all know that. From the standpoint of if you're vaccinated and boosted, the odds of hospitalization or death are very small, and it just stacks the deck in your favor. I absolutely would tell you over and over and over that, especially if you're 50 and older, please get those booster shots. It is so important and everything, and could very well save your life. And so with all that being said, I thank everybody. I thank everybody for the prayers and all the well wishes and everything. But I'm in good shape. I'm ready to go. Okay, so like I said, it's Tuesday, January 24th. Again, I want to thank all those that were kind enough to send all the well wishes and everything. And joining me today is on this call is our interim secretary of DHHR, Jeff Coben, and our Secretary of Veterans Assistance, Ted Diaz, and our Deputy Chief, of Staff, Ann Erling. So they'll cover some things as we go forward here. Okay. In my State of the State, I said, now is our time. Now is our time in West Virginia. We have the ability to give all the people across this entire state a 50% reduction in your state income tax. It is unbelievable what that would do for West Virginia. Not only will it attract and drive real live growth to West Virginia, people we need so badly to fill jobs and on and on and on, their expertise and everything else. People that will put more kids in our schools, and absolutely the enrollment, as the enrollment goes up, people that pay taxes in West Virginia to help us bear the burden of making our roads better and better. It is our time and our chance. So with all that being said, I'm going to do exactly what I did before. I'm going to go back out on the road. I'm going to be as positive as I know we can possibly be. We're 2/3 of the way home. We had a 95-2 vote in the House. We're 2/3 of the way there. We're waiting on the Senate. I'm very, very, very positive, very, hopeful that the Senate is going to come our way and realize that this is the way to go. There's no question this is the way to go. Every tax publication in the land says this is the way to go. Now, do we want to be smart? Do we not? Do we want to make sure we don't overextend ourselves? Well, of course we do. Now, just think about it. Who in their right mind would think that a governor walked in the door to a state that was dead, flat, DOA bankrupt? That's all there is to it. And worked as hard as we've worked to try to together get this state back on its feet and really going. The governor that promised you a rocket ship ride. Why in the world would that guy not absolutely look at every single thing he could possibly look at to make sure that we were safe and absolutely insured that we were not going to end up overextended? There's no chance on the planet that I have not seen every number and looked at this and looked at it and looked at it. This is our time. We absolutely have this completely covered. Without any question whatsoever, we're putting 700, which is almost as big as the entire rainy day fund. We're putting $700 million aside in our personal income tax, just a second rainy day fund, in case there is a bad day or two. With all that being said, literally, this is the very thing that will drive growth beyond belief to West Virginia. Absolutely, with all that, our people deserve it. So many people through the decades of slogging through tough times, they hung with us, didn't they? They pulled the rope, and even though it was really, really, really tough, they hung with us in West Virginia. I don't mean in the last couple of years. I'm talking about in decades and decades. Now today, of all times, why not reward them? These are not our monies. These are the taxpayers' dollars. They need the money back. Inflation's eating a lot of people's lunch in every way. They need the money in their pockets. Hardworking West Virginians that will make it happen and have made it happen literally need those dollars today. We're 2/3 of the way there. Like I said, a 95-2 vote in the House. You're 2/3 of the way there. The Senate wants to make sure that the numbers all jive and everything, and we have said over and over and over, we stand ready to supply numbers, do anything and everything we possibly can. Literally, without any question, we need to move and we need to get going. And our people need to know that we're with them. So at the end of the day, I'm very, very hopeful, that the Senate is going to move our way on this, and I'm very respectful over the fact that they want to make sure the numbers are good, and we're standing ready to supply numbers or do anything and everything we can to assist in that. Now I caution anybody. You can have 35 experts come in, and in many situations you can get 35 different opinions. The people that know this the very best are the people that have been in the Revenue Department a long time. And they absolutely work these numbers, and they absolutely work these numbers very well. And so, to the Mark Mucows or Mike Cooks or Dave Hardys and all those people that are working all around them in every way, I thank you for all your hard work. You're doing great work and everything. We just need to keep that up. Now, what am I going to do? In the meantime, I'm not going to go out and I'm not going to bash anybody. I'm not going to throw rocks at anybody and everything else. I'm going to be way above all that and everything. But at the end of the day, I'm going to continue to promote my plan. My plan is so simple. It's just this simple. I said yesterday and everything, it doesn't have squirrel tails and mud flaps with it. Now, a lot of you are too young to know what I'm talking about squirrel tails and mud flaps. But a long time ago, maybe not too long ago, literally, a lot of our roads, were dirt roads, red dog roads, whatever it may be. And a lot of people opted out to put mud flaps on their tires on the back of their car. Now, with all that being said, then squirrel season came in. And you had a radio antenna that was on the front of your car. And it was probably 4 foot long and everything, and it was right on the front of your car. Well, a lot of people that would go squirrel hunting were real proud of the squirrels that they got, and they'd put squirrel tails on their radio antenna. So my tax plan does not have squirrel tails or mud flaps. It's just this simple. I am saying what I want to have happen is I want you to have a 50% reduction in your income tax. I'm wanting to put $1 billion+ of your taxpayer dollars right back in your pocket to where literally then you can do with it as you choose. But at the end of the day, it will singly be the biggest stimulus package in this state forevermore. It'll drive growth to this state. People will want to come. Border counties, they'll want to come. And then at some point in time, as we move forward, ultimately what we should be doing in West Virginia is letting that jumpstart us to the total elimination of the state income tax. What a day it will be. What a day it will be to think that all the population of this country is driving right through us to get to a Tennessee, to get to a Texas, to get to a Florida. Absolutely, without any question, South Carolina's on a pathway maybe to do something with their state income tax. Georgia's on a pathway. We're the state that they've got to all drive through. It's an opportunity like we can't imagine. I'll be in Parkersburg tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And I'll be in the city council chambers at 12 o'clock. I'll talk a little bit, and then I'll open it up to any questions, anybody that wants to come. Anything in the world you want to ask me and everything about state income tax and so on like that, I'll have Dave Hardy, our Secretary of Revenue, there, and maybe some other folks. I think Vernon Chris, the chairman of finance, in the House, is going to be there, and so we'll be sitting there and we'll answer any question that you cast our way, and so that's what a town hall does. A town hall gives you the opportunity to ask anything, and we'll answer it as best we possibly can. If we can't answer it, we'll find out somebody who can, and we'll get back to you. But with all that being said, I'll be in Parkersburg tomorrow at 12 o'clock at the Parkersburg City Council chambers. On Thursday, I'll be in Beckley at 12 o'clock at Tamarack Conference Center in Beckley. And on Friday at 12 o'clock, I'll be in Independence Hall in Wheeling. So again, on Wednesday, I'll be in Parkersburg at the City Council chambers. All these times are 12 o'clock. I'll be in Beckley, same way, 12 o'clock at the Tamarack Conference Center on Thursday, and I'll be in Independence Hall on Friday at 12 o'clock in Wheeling. So I hope that if you know some folks in the area and everything, send them out there. We'll answer their questions and be tickled to death to see them. DHHR, I'm announcing today that we are beginning immediately the starting salaries for all CPS, APS, and youth service workers have been increased by 20%. Employees previously hired in these categories who fall below the new salary classification will immediately be brought up to the new salary classification. We are also increasing retention bonuses by 10% for employees who experience their second and fourth year work anniversaries, and a 5% increase to their base salary for those employees who experience their sixth and eighth year work anniversaries. This retention plan will apply retroactively to current employees to help with their benefits and everything. And this is just I think Jeff Coben, our interim secretary, is joining us today, Dr. Coben, and he's doing a great job. And we're trying to move as prudently as we possibly can to make things better in DHHR. And let me just say this. I want to say this real quick. There's a movement on, from the standpoint of dividing up DHHR. We have a McChrystal report that said that's probably not a great idea. But from my standpoint, I want you to understand this and understand loud and clear. If part of the movement is to kind of hit back at me and everything, listen, I can take it. I'm a great big boy and everything. But I really believe the primary of the movement, whether it be on the Senate side or the House side, is to try to make things better. And I'm going to stand as open-minded as I possibly can, and I'm going to try to do anything and everything that the Senate and the House or anyone comes up with to make things better. And DHHR has been, difficult times for decades and decades and decades. Now, I truly believe that Dr. Coben and Dr. Marsh and General Hoyer are doing everything they can possibly do to make things move as quickly as they possibly can to make things better. And I really believe this. I believe the great people that work in DHHR deserve a lot of credit for all the years and all the great service that they've done. You know, we don't need to just absolutely stand back and throw rocks for the sake of standing back and throwing rocks. And we sure don't need to be on a soapbox. You know, I don't have all the answers and no one else really does, only one, and that's God above. You know, but with all that being said, let's do make things better. You know, it's the same way how I feel about the governor's power issue. I mean, you know, you hear that all around everywhere and you think, oh, the governor's going to be real upset with that, and that's hogwash. The governor doesn't care about that. I don't care about it at all. At the end of the day, really and truly, the only thing we should do is beware of the fact that as we go forward, we should not stub our toe and handcuff a governor to where when a governor's got to move in an emergency and he doesn't, we could have bad outcomes. Now, I'd say this, and I don't say this egotistically, but I think this through and through. What would we have done? What would we have done if we didn't have the correct emergency powers? What would you have done if we didn't have a governor that could really move and think and everything and push the right buttons at the right time and COVID had hit? You know, surely, to goodness, there may be something that we didn't make the right decisions on, but we made a lot of good decisions. And we protected a lot of people, and we saved a lot of lives, and we had to move. And so the odds are having an emergency power situation again, a pandemic again, or whatever it may be, you know, between now and when I'm through, that's so remote, it's unbelievable. But all I would say is just this, you know, governors need to be able to react. And so I think, you know, what they'll put in place will still enable that to happen and everything. And like I said, from my standpoint, if the motivation is to hit at me, then and I do not think that. But if that be the case and everything, crying out loud, I can handle every bit of that. The only thing that I can't handle is just one thing. I don't care about people hitting at me. I care about people hitting at you, the West Virginians. And when they start hitting at you, then they've got a grizzly bear on their hands. That's all there is to it. And I can fight with the very best of the best of the best. And I can be the biggest redneck in the town. When they start hitting at you, West Virginians, then they got a real problem on their hands. But really and truly, if they want to poke at me and everything, I'm good with all that. Dr. Coben, please come on.
Well, thank you, Governor, and it's great to see you back and feeling better. I also want to thank you for, as you said, focusing on making things better. When I was appointed interim cabinet secretary and Dr. Marsh and General Hoyer were named as advisors to DHHR, you emphasized to us that we need to move quickly and boldly to protect our most vulnerable citizens, including children in the child welfare system. Since that time, we have been actively soliciting and getting a lot of input from legislators, from judges, faith-based organizations, social service workers, and many others about really the essential need to further develop and maintain a highly skilled and supported workforce for CPS and adult protective services and youth services. Today's announcement that you've just made is really designed to do just that, and it'll be what we think is a critical first step in our continued efforts to protect and assist West Virginia's most vulnerable children, youth, and adults. And I want to acknowledge and thank also Commissioner Jeff Pack and Deputy Secretary Cammie Chapman for their leadership in helping to put this package of improvements together. In addition to what the governor has announced regarding the 20% overall increase for protective service workers, we are also establishing a special hiring rate of $50,000 for CPS workers in the Eastern Panhandle, Berkeley, Jefferson, and Morgan counties to be more competitive with surrounding states. We're also increasing the youth services classification to the same pay grade as CPS workers. We are creating 27 new full-time positions for paraprofessional staff to support the field staff and take some of the administrative burden away from our field staff who are actually doing the actual casework. These paraprofessionals will be coordinating travel, paperwork, and other back office functions. In addition to those 27 FTEs, we're creating 10 new full-time positions for policy and licensing to support the increase in reviews and investigations at residential treatment facilities, both in-state and out-of-state. We're also purchasing tablets for field staff so that they can access our integrated eligibility system to help families enroll and apply for services directly in the field. And we're going to be installing Wi-Fi in all of our offices across the state. In total, this enhancement package that we're rolling out today is expected to infuse up to $10 million into the CPS, APS, and YS workforce in the first 12 months of implementation. This is all on top of the previous improvements in child welfare that we announced in December when the governor authorized a $5,000 hiring bonus for CPS worker and social service worker positions in Berkeley, Jefferson, and Morgan counties. And this is on top of the 26 counties that are already eligible to receive a $2,500 sign-on bonus. In addition, in December, as you know, Governor Justice also issued an executive order which allowed individuals who've retired from DHHR to come back on a limited basis while still drawing their full-time retirement. So we have a lot of opportunities now and competitive opportunities for workforce enhancements in our protective services positions. Anyone who's interested in applying for these positions can apply on our website or attend one of the many job fairs that will be occurring throughout the state. And additionally, I also want to remind people that individuals who are currently enrolled in a bachelor's or master's social work program may receive tuition assistance by contacting DHHR EAP or calling 304-558-6700 for more information. So as you can see, our team is really dedicated to making a difference, focusing on making improvements in the workforce, particularly as it relates to the child welfare and adult protective services workforce. And we're very, very grateful to Governor Justice for focusing on the needs of West Virginians for these critical services. So thank you, Governor, and back to you.
No, Doc, thank you. I mean, all y'all continue to amaze me in every way. I mean, these are really good people, and they really work really hard. And whether it be, Dr. Coben, Dr. Marsh, General Hoyer and stuff, they, and they do it. They're doing it all for nothing. I mean, absolutely for nothing. And they should be commended and saluted in every way. So thank you so much. The other thing I'd like to point out is all these dollars we have, we have in DHHR right now. So this isn't like a bunch of drunken sailors that are spending money and everything. These are dollars that we do not have to ask the legislature for. We can move forward, and we'll be able to sustain this for several years to come. without asking for additional dollars. So that's really good. That's great stuff. And I just follow up by just saying this. You heard Dr. Coben and saying, if you have any interest whatsoever in one of these jobs, apply now. Call us. I mean, for crying out loud. And not only that, if you're in school, there may be a real situation here to where you can apply for assistance on tuition and everything. Call us. Just call us and let us try to see if we can get you qualified or answer your questions and everything. It's a real opportunity, real opportunity. So please take advantage. Another thing that we're doing is today I am announcing that the West Virginia Division of Corrections and Rehabilitation has established a new partnership with Marshall Health, for medical management and services all across the corrections, area. There's as part of this announcement today, I'm announcing this, that Dr. Amjad has been named Director of Correctional Health Care for the West Virginia Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation and an Assistant Professor of Medicine at the Marshall University Jones C. Edwards School of Medicine. It's really good stuff. Really good stuff. You got a lot of people that are pulling the rope and helping in every way. We thank Dr. Amjad and congratulate her. She did incredible work for us here and everything, and she's really good, a real superstar and everything. So all that being said, more good stuff that's happening in corrections at Marshall University and Dr. Amjad and on and on and on. So we thank everybody and let's just keep on doing the good work. Yesterday, Tourism Day, in the state of West Virginia at the Capitol and everything. And there was lots and lots of folks here celebrating all the good stuff that they're doing in tourism. Now, if I could just take just a second, just imagine this. First of all, we congratulate Chelsea and Steve Ruby on, a newborn that just happened in the last few days and everything. Chelsea had a baby and everything, a little boy, and now they've got two little boys, and they've got Caroline in the middle, and Caroline will probably handle those boys, really handsomely. I mean, that's all there is to it. Caroline's a tough nut, and she I promise you she'll be able to hold her own. But we congratulate both Chelsea and Steve, and Chelsea's doing great, little baby's doing great, all good stuff and everything. But let me just say this about Chelsea. Chelsea Ruby, came to me way back when. And to be perfectly honest, we hit it off right off the get-go, but there was many moments that I had to do my job too, and I really pushed Chelsea and pushed her really hard at times and everything. So with all that being said, now we have an incredible bond and an incredible respect for one another, and she has done a job like you can't imagine. Tourism has taken off in this state like crazy. And we all know it. We all know it now, but really, do you really know that when Chelsea walked into this job, we were regressing? With all that being said, we stepped up and we decided to be proud of our own pond, didn't we? A frog not proud of your own pond is not much of a frog in my book. But we were proud. And with all that, we put some dollars in, and lo and behold, now just think about this. Last year in the state of West Virginia, travelers that came through spent over $5 billion in the state of West Virginia last year. $5 billion is going directly to our local communities and fueling good paying jobs. I mean, it is amazing. We've attracted more than $300 million in recent private investment and tax credit applications for tourism projects, which is far and away and above the most we've ever seen. It's a story that is unbelievable. And all those that are involved in this great industry, I thank them and I congratulate them, but I tell you just this. Jim Justice will be right about this. And that is with us, with the opportunities that we have, with being able to get on a pathway to really completely eliminate our personal income tax, with us being located where we are, with us having the seasons that we have, 4 seasons that none of them are too severe. I mean, for crying out loud, you just think about it. Sure, Florida's got an ocean, but in the summertime, literally, you will roast in Florida. The same in Texas. States that I'm referring to that don't have a state income tax. Think about how it is right now in South Dakota, or how it was not very many days ago when it got so terribly, bitterly cold here. How is it then in Wyoming? Those states don't have an income tax. They are not close to population like we are. Absolutely, they don't have the 4 beautiful seasons that we have. With all in me, and I tell you this, but we have surely improved phenomenally. And we've done things in tourism that are off the chart. But I'm telling you, there's so much still to come, it is unbelievable. Literally, all we have done so far is touch the parsley around the sides of the plate. We have really not gotten to the meat and the potatoes. Literally, there is so much good to come out of this industry for the state of West Virginia. It is totally off the chart. I thank Chelsea in every way. You talk about a true superstar. She has been that, and she continues to be that. We congratulate Steve and Chelsea and their family, but absolutely we thank Chelsea beyond belief in the incredible job that she's done. So Chelsea, you just get well, or not get well, but celebrate that little rascal, and we'll see you real soon. Anyway, thank you again. Okay, this is part of tourism as well. Think about this. Today I am proud to officially unveil the new 2023 West Virginia Vacation Guide, a free travel inspirational magazine dedicated to promoting almost heaven in West Virginia. Now look at this. This thing is just filled with everything you can imagine, the most spectacular pictures, and so much description and everything about all the different places that you can go in West Virginia. And it has this cover that is, it's difficult to see from there, but it's basically a tent shooting a shot out of the tent and everything in Watauga State Park. It's the first, and there's no point in me trying to say this, but it is the first travel guide that basically has this, on the front cover and everything. But it's like a 3D or whatever look at the front cover of something, and it's truly spectacular. But, this travel guide, showcases undiscovered locations, world-class outdoor adventures, and everything across all of our small towns. And the bulk of the book is organized by season. Travelers will find gorgeous imagery and everything that they may enjoy doing in this great state. And I think what we're going to do, we're going to send out 300,000 of these and everything. This spring, 200,000 of these guides, will go out, and then another 100,000 will also go, to all kinds of subscribers of copies of travel and leisure magazines and so on. In addition to that, we had 8,000 early requests for these. We'll get those out right away and everything. Anybody that wants one of these, if you'll contact us, we'll get it to you and everything. It's really, really great stuff. Okay, I'm announcing today, new stuff about our websites and everything. Today, I'm proud to announce that my office has developed 2 new websites to help West Virginia. The first one is a grant website. It is my goal that, that this resource keeps West Virginians informed and up to date about grant opportunities and everything that are happening all within this great state. And the second one is an IIJA, which is the second new website, which is going to be called an infrastructure hub. And the West Virginia Infrastructure Hub is a coordinated approach by my administration to work to identify best practices from across the nation for deploying funds and maximizing West Virginia's Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act opportunities. So 2 new websites, take advantage and everything. Good information, great information. I guess the last thing I had today, which probably should be the first thing, it's Veterans Visibility Day in West Virginia. Now just think about it. I've said this a billion times. These people have given and gave so much. And what they ask is so little all the time. All the time. You're talking about a state that per capita has more folks that have been in all the different wars that this nation's been in, more folks that absolutely has more and more people step up than any per capita other state. No way. I mean, we are the very, very, very best. So with all that being said, today, I am proclaiming today as Veterans Visibility Day in the state of West Virginia. This is the proclamation. Please, please take heed to what I'm saying to you. We owe everything in our lives to these folks. No, we do. Do you get that? We owe everything that you have, everything that I have. We owe it to these people. Why in the world wouldn't you step up if you were at Applebee's or wherever it may be? You see somebody that's a veteran and you can afford it. Pay for their dinner. If you can't, at least go over and tell them that we appreciate them. We appreciate their service and all that they've given to each and every one of us. Even the same as well as active military. Without any question whatsoever, I believe we owe them. We owe them. And literally we should step up and acknowledge any and every opportunity that we have. You know, doesn't take much to say thank you, does it? You know, maybe we can't afford a meal for somebody else or whatever, but it doesn't take much to say thank you. Doesn't take much to write a note. Doesn't take much to pick up the phone and call somebody. Doesn't take much. What they've given is unbelievable. And what our active military is doing right now as we speak, you know, there's a kid. It could be a young lady, it could be a young man, and they're sitting in a foxhole right now somewhere in the world and somebody's shooting at them. And they're a long ways away from home. They'd a whole lot rather probably be right here in West Virginia with us today in many ways. But in many ways, they know that what they stepped up to do is a bigger calling than just hanging out here in West Virginia. Literally, with all that being said, I asked you to please, please step up to the plate and thank these great people for all that they do for us every day. That's all I've got right now.
All right, thank you, Governor. First today, we'll hear from Deputy Chief of Staff Ann Erling on the new websites.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Most of us know how to locate federal grant funding opportunities by going to grants.gov and going to that website. Today, I'm pleased to announce, under the Governor's leadership and direction, we have created a grant website at the state level, grants.wv.gov, which offers transparency like we've never had before. This site will help us identify available grant funding at the state level in one location and will allow organizations and the public to research and learn about possible grant funding opportunities throughout the state, including state-funded programs and federal sub-awarding programs. This site remains in what I would call a soft launch phase, so be patient as we work out the bugs, but watch as we add even more information to the site. Right now, if you happen to know where to look, you can find available potential grant funding at the state level in several different agencies for very similar purposes. For example, there's funding for utility assistance in the Development Office under our Department of Economic Development. DHHR offers its LIHEAP Utility Assistance Program, and the West Virginia Housing Development Fund has a program under their Homeowners Assistance Program. If a homeowner meets certain income criteria, they can pay up to $2,500 in past due utilities. My question was, how do we connect the dots so an individual trying to find funding knows where to look? My direction from the governor was to take the guesswork out of the process and make it as easy as possible to navigate the different funding opportunities. So we have developed the grants.wv.gov website to act as the hub with the spokes to each of the different agencies based on the available funding. Here's an example. If you go to the grants.wv.gov website and go to the search bar, we're going to plug in the word water and see what comes up. And the third option on there for the Community Block Grant, CDBG, this shows all the specific details on this particular grant. It has the grant dates to remember, documents and resources, program manager and contact information. And if you go down to the bottom of the page and click on, would you like to know more about this grant? Read more. That will take you to that specific grant agency to get more information on that grant. We've also included some helpful resources on this site which will take you to constituent resources, information on things including student financial aid, community development, employment services, so you can have a person to reach out to when you need help. Other constituent resources, including information on road maintenance, small business assistance, housing assistance, veterans and senior services, and public safety, are among the numerous other resources, all located in one convenient location for the benefit of all West Virginians. The governor had also instructed us to come up with a public-facing website that shows exactly what we are achieving with the federal dollars that our state is receiving. He wanted us to make it more clear for West Virginians to see exactly how we're moving the needle and how we're improving the state's infrastructure with this funding. How many miles of road are being paved? How many new residences and businesses now have access to broadband that didn't have it prior to this funding? Today, we are also happy to announce we have added a link to our grants.wv.gov website, or you can access this site directly at infrastructure.wv.gov, where you'll see the state's new Infrastructure Hub website. Public and local governments are now able to access a one-stop shop at the infrastructure.wv.gov to find out more about potential federal funding sources for projects in their area. The state of West Virginia is expected to receive $7 billion, with a B, over the next 5 years in federal funding just from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. In addition, there are other federal funding sources that have been announced, but we don't yet know many of the details on the funding, such as the Inflation Reduction Act and the CHIPS for America program, just to name a couple that we've been made aware of so far. As details on these other federal programs are developed, they will also be added to this website. And this site is also what I would call a soft launch. So please be patient as we work out the bugs, and please check back regularly as even more information is added. A very important aspect to this new site is going to be the metrics calculation for each of the major funding areas for broadband, environmental, and transportation listings. So you'll be able to see how your federal tax dollars are being utilized. For instance, in the broadband area, you'll be able to see the projects funded and the number of fiber miles deployed. Under the environmental tab, you'll learn more about environmental remediation, energy and power, as well as resiliency programs. Under transportation, there is a listing of key notices of funding opportunities that can be found for potential projects in areas throughout West Virginia. The site is a one-stop shop for information on potential project funding sources for our local communities. The site will also show West Virginians the progress being made throughout West Virginia and the governor's work in improving transparency and expanding infrastructure projects throughout the state. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you so much and everything.
Yeah, Governor, now we'll hear from the West Virginia Secretary of Veterans Assistance, Ted Diaz.
Well, Governor, I just wanted to take this time to thank you. Thank you for recognizing our veterans in this state. It has been a couple of years since we have had a Veterans Visibility Day here at the Capitol. And from what my staff has told me, there has never been a larger gathering of veterans for Veterans Visibility Day during the legislature. And we couldn't have done this without you and your support throughout your administration. So with that, I just wanted to say thank you.
No, Ted, listen, you and Ann both are real superstars as well, and Dr. Coben, thank you. And at the end of the day, though, the superstars, without any question in my book, are our veterans and all of our active military and all the great stuff that they bring us every single day. So we salute them and we thank them.
All right, Governor, thank you. We'll now go to questions from members of the media. The first today from Kenny Bass with WCHS and Fox 11.
Hi, thanks for taking the question. Governor, you started off by talking about the tax situation, so I wanted to revisit it. I know we talked about it yesterday, but I've done some research on states which have done away with the personal income tax, and invariably and generally speaking, other taxes seem to go up in lieu of a personal income tax to fill whatever hole or whatever revenue goes missing from the PIT, because generally speaking, again, government knows no limits. It kind of consumes everything in its path. So I know you guys have looked at it. What do the numbers tell you about when times get a little bit leaner, if there'd be a possibility for alternative taxes that would go up, property taxes, sales taxes, et cetera? And does that cause you any concern? Thank you.
Well, Kenny, it doesn't cause me a bit of concern. And the reason for that is I am as rock solid confident in the numbers as I can possibly be. And today, going to a 50% level today, we don't need to do that. We just plain don't need to do it. Now, if what we want to do is we want to tag on a bunch of extra taxes and everything, then we're just, in my opinion, the most important of the important is the personal income tax. There's no question about that. But we don't need to do this. This would be, in my opinion, kissing your sister. It's just, we don't need to do it. It's absolutely unnecessary. There's no need to do it. We've vetted these numbers, and I don't see a need. I don't think any of us at this point in time, because like I said, we're 2/3 of the way there, but we still got to get the other third, don't we? So I don't think any of us needs to just turn our nose up at anything and say, no, 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 no. We don't need to do that. We need to keep an open mind and all really work together and try to get across this finish line and everything. But today, Kenny, as where we are within this state and how we can put this together, today we do not need to tie anything. No mud flaps, no squirrel tails with this, just straight 50%. You got the money, people, and everything. It's your money. You deserve to have it and everything. Take it and go do goodness with it and everything. And then let's absolutely see how we continue to grow and move forward in West Virginia and try to work as diligently as we possibly can to get rid of the other 50%. But right now, there's not any need.
All right, thank you, Kenny. We'll now go to Charles Young with WV News.
Hi, this is Charles Young with WV News. Governor, I wanted to ask about your plan to take the tax plan on the road. What do you hope to accomplish with that? Is your, sort of idea that folks would hear your tax plan and then call the senators and Senate finance folks and exert some pressure? What's the best case scenario from that for you?
Charles, that's not it at all. I mean, really, at the end of the day, people in this state and all of our states, we're moving so fast and everything that a lot of times we just couldn't possibly understand what really is at play here and what really, how this state can really genuinely benefit. We should absolutely be showing to people tax publications, any and every tax publication that's out there and everything, what benefits something like this could bring to the state, how we compare to our bordering states now as far as our personal income tax, and where this would put us if we, once we get to that 50% level, how it would make us way, way, way more attractive and everything. How the fact that we are not really growing population in West Virginia. Everybody sees all these businesses coming to West Virginia and all these incredible surpluses and all the goodness that's happening in West Virginia today, but they still really don't really see the magnitude of the fact that we are not growing in population, or not significantly growing. We're beginning to grow a little bit, but not significantly growing in population. This is just an education process. This is not, trying to exert pressure and all that kind of stuff. The Senate understands the plan, and they understand where we are, and surely to goodness, they understand across this great state that if we don't come through with a 50% reduction in income tax, and we go back to our people and say, no, we're going to do 20% or whatever it may be, we're just taking money back away from them. And so we don't need to get in a situation to where we're hitting at each other. I mean, for crying out loud, I am so focused on one thing, and this is exactly how I feel, Charles, is like I said, what I said about the emergency powers, what I said about DHHR. At the end of the day, I think the Senate and the House, for the most part, they're trying to do good stuff. They're trying to do the right stuff. There may be some that are just trying to hit at me. I don't care. I can give a hoot about that. You can hit at me all day long, but absolutely don't hit at my people. Don't hit at the people of West Virginia. Literally, they are so great, it's unbelievable. And really and truly in this situation, Charles, what we need to do is we need to get on with giving them a conclusive answer. We don't need to just let it just ride along. I am all for the Senate having all the answers that they want to have, but I caution anybody and everybody, from the standpoint that I've done lots and lots and lots of stuff business-wise, and literally, at the end of the day, you can line up consultants 50 miles long. And in lots of situations, a lot of those consultants will tell you different opinions 50 miles long. Get to the answers. get to the answers as best we can possibly come up with. And, and our people have got them, and everybody's welcome to those answers and everything. But once we get to the answers, we need to bring finality to this from the standpoint of the people that are the voters, the people that absolutely make it happen every day in West Virginia. So, this is not about anything except education. There's a lot of people that are really, really, really interested in this. Yesterday, we did this right here in the Capitol. Well, crying out loud, lots of people have lots of things going on, but that room was mega packed yesterday. And so I think you'll see a lot of people are interested in finding the details out and everything, and I welcome them to come.
All right, thank you, Charles. Next to Mark Cram with DC News Now.
Good morning, Governor. Good to see you back, fine as a fiddle, or whatever it is that we're fine these days. The doctors in West Virginia are certainly top notch. It was mentioned about the DHHR adding the newly created positions, which is exciting. There is some question among the public in regards to existing positions within the DHHR that have gone unfilled in a cost-cutting or money-saving effort. Perhaps you could offer a little clarification there, just to sort of discern the difference between any positions that might already have existing positions, versus the newly created ones.
Well, Dr. Coben, maybe you could shed some light, and please do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the question, Mark. So I will say that with regards to existing vacancies in the department, one of the things that we've looked closely at is exactly where those vacancies exist. The largest number of vacancies currently exist in the facilities that the department operates, the long-term care facilities and the two psychiatric facilities, as well as the hospital facility. As you know, and many people know, staffing healthcare facilities has been a challenge, not just in the state, but across the country, particularly with the impact of COVID over the last several years. So while these have been vacancies, we have had to use and redirect those resources to contract for outside agencies to be able to staff those critical positions in our healthcare facilities. So the majority of vacancies across the department actually reside within those areas. The second thing is that with regards to the vacancies within protective services, what we have done today is to provide enhancements and enticements so that we can reduce those vacancies by recruiting new individuals into the workforce and retaining them in the workforce. The additional positions that we've created, the 27 plus the 10 that I mentioned, are actually new positions, again, that will serve to bolster that overall workforce and allow the people who are the actual service workers to better function in their positions and directly serve the citizens that need the protective services. So I hope that addresses the question, Mark.
All right, thank you, Mark. Next to Chase Campbell with WTAP. All right, looks like we may have a connection issue there. Let's go to Curtis Johnson with WSAZ.
There, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. Hey, Governor, thank you so much for taking my question. You indicated that these problems at DHHR have been there for many, many years. You've been governor for several years, and you indicated the money that's coming in today is already in DHHR, and these changes can be sustained for years in the future. If all of that's the case, why has it taken so long to announce why is it taking so long to make these announcements?
Well, Curtis, let me just tell you this. First of all, you know, we just went through a McChrystal report where we spent $1 million to get the very best in all the land. The very, very best, did we not? And that McChrystal report said, do this and that and everything. Don't divide this up. Don't do this and that. I have stood, you know, with open arms and saying, listen, you know, if our House and Senate, which really means the very best intentions, if they think that's the best way to go, then I'm all in. I'm taking no offense to it whatsoever. From the standpoint, Curtis, of things that have gone on for a long time, there have been secretary after secretary after secretary of DHHR. You know, I'm sure there's been improvements that have been made over the years and everything, and there was a lot of improvements that were made by Bill Crouch as well. A lot of good people did a lot of good stuff in DHHR. And with all that being said, an organization that has almost 6,000 employees and everything, and there's a lot of stuff that all the time can be falling through the cracks. Now, I don't micromanage, or I didn't micromanage Bill Crouch and what Bill Crouch is doing. But without any question, there was all kinds of goodness that happened under Bill Crouch's watch, and now under Dr. Coben and Dr. Marsh and General Hoyer's watch. And as we go forward, Curtis, listen, I'll promise you to God above, if I had known of a situation, no matter what it was, if any situation, if it was brought to my attention that you can do this and help these kids here, or you can do this and help the seniors here, you can do something, you know, whatever it may be, I would have done it, and I did do it over and over and over, and I'll continue to do just that.
All right, thanks, Curtis. Governor, I'll turn it back to you.
Let me just end by just saying just this. I hope to goodness that you think, really, from the day that I walked in the door, the one thing I've told you all the time is the truth. And I'll continue to do that till the day I die. I'm not going to pull any punches. You know, I surely don't walk on water. I make mistakes like anybody and everybody does. But I will promise you that I am doing what I can do for the right reasons, serving. And I will promise you to God above, anytime and every time there is something brought to my attention that we can do something about, we do it. And we've made those improvements, and I am very, very, very proud of what we've done there. Now, can we always do more? With 40,000+ people that are working in government, there's going to be things all the time, no matter way after Jim Justice leaves, way after we hope and pray thousands of years go by. Literally, there will always be more that can be done. And literally, I hope what happens more than anything is all the governors to be and all the folks in the Senate and the House to be's and everything will continue to try to make things better for West Virginia. I entrust that they will. I entrust that they are right now. And that's what we do. We try to make it better. You know, it's imperfect as it can be, but we try to make it better. And literally with all in me, I will promise you, there's a lot of great people in government that are working every day to just do exactly just that. Listen, you know, this is a wonderful state with a lot of good to tell. And we need to tell our story. We need to tell our good story because we want people to come. Now, we don't want to walk away from something that's not so good. We want to fix it, do we not? And that's what we do. So I thank you so much.